Well, hello, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse Showalter, and it is a beautiful Thursday. We got people jumping in the chat right now, like Kui and John. Sam Peterson is moderating. Let me know where you're coming from, and do you have any weekend plans? It doesn't have to be something fancy schmancy. You don't even have to be traveling. Maybe you just feel like designing something or reading a good book. Let me know in the chat. Throw me a little emoji. Sandeep Pawar is in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, come on over to Behance and join us for the fun, because here at the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge, we are doing things. We are building our XD skills in 9 challenges. Today is challenge number 3. Day number 4, challenge number 3. You can find out more information, behance.net/challenge/XD. Hit that big blue button. Sign up for the Discord, where we're going to be reviewing work afterwards. This is the Adobe XD Discord with like 30 kajillion people on it. I think there's like 36,000 creatives. Not kajillion. That's not even a real thing. At least not that I can count to. But this is where we'll be reviewing work today. And you can always scroll down back there on Behance to get your starting file. Today we're going to be doing an e-commerce checkout experience on desktop. We're going to be doing a little prototyping, building a little slider, maybe some components with different states, and start building ourselves a little design system or pattern library. Going to be a lot of fun. We got, let's see, people coming in from Norway, people coming in. It's afternoon for some, it's night for others. Wherever you are, whether it's night or morning, let's jump into our starting file and get going today. Again, here's our challenge prompt, building that e-commerce checkout. We have a couple of examples. I love this 2-panel kind of standard checkout experience. It's kind of Stripe-esque, and we are not going to be checking out a watch or wearable technology of any kind. We're actually going to be checking out this little client survey of mine. So this the idea being that maybe you're a freelancer and you really need some documentation or some paperwork and contracts. We got something for you. All right, what are some other elements we have for our starting file? A little MasterCard logo. And what may not be in your file is I just took the liberty of creating a couple of simple form fields, because we don't want to build that stuff from scratch. I want to get to the good stuff, which is creating components with states, building interactive sliders in the prototype. That's what I want to do. So why don't we just finish laying this out based off of what we have over on the right-hand panel. We'll just finish this section. It says checkout details. Complete your purchase by providing your checkout details. Love it. Let's just group that together. And for the heck of it, we'll just turn it into a vertical stack. Okay, love that. What's really cool about this is you can see, if I zoom way in, you can see I'm about 32 pixels away of spacing, and I've done that consistently, or at least I should have. Boom, 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 32 pixels away. And maybe that's too far. Maybe we need to be more like 24. Good. On all of our form fields, we'll be 24 away. How do we know? Well, because we're going to group it together and drop it inside of a stack like that. Now, no matter where, maybe I want the card details up above, we can do that, but it still keeps the right spacing, right? What's also really cool about stacks and about groups and all that kind of fun stuff is that you can also copy and paste, and boom, it's going to pop another one right into the stack with that perfect spacing. All right. You can also customize spacing inside of stacks. So if I want this one to be a little bit more, we can do that. For instance, let's say we want our checkout experience to be inside of our stack. We should be able to just click inside of our stack here. Ooh, let's try that one more time. Let's move it inside of our stack. It's going to try to give it that 24, but let's move that out to 32. All right. So we can customize it a little bit. You get a little bit of that control on there, which I really like. But let's do this first. Let's realize that we're going to be putting in a lot of these form fields. So we really should build out a component out of it, right? First things first, we got this beautiful color. And when we open up our document assets, I don't really have a whole lot of anything up there right now. No colors, no character styles. Why don't we do that really quickly? Why don't I grab this, and this kind of light gray color? I'm going to press plus on each one of them and just add these colors to our color palette up here. Boom. Okay, we can list it or view it as a grid, or we can view it in our list view like that. Now we have the colors to work off of. We can designate colors for everything, and those are the master colors for our file. Likewise, we love this headline. This is definitely kind of main body copy. We could call this like our kind of form label, and then that's our helper text. And you can always, if you need to, come in here, and it won't let me create another one because that's already established. So that's fine. So we can always come in here if we need to and rename these to say, ooh, we don't want that. To rename it as like main headline, right? And then this one is like body copy. You can rename all of them. But now we're building out a little bit of that pattern library that we're using. I'll move myself out of the way so you can see it on the other side. We're starting to build out some of those assets that we want to use. Next up, here's what we know. We know that we love this shape and this piece of text, this helper text together, right? We're gonna call this an input, and then we're gonna press Command or Alt K or Control K, excuse me, to make an input field. Now, when you're working with forms, you have probably a non-active state, you have active states, you have hover state, you have all sorts of things that are going on. So we need to, with our input, we need to create a new component state, right? Right now it has a single default state. We need to add a component state. So why don't we do that? We'll say, let's see, not hover, not toggle. Let's just call it a new state. We'll call this one active, okay? Let's zoom out. And now with our active state selected, we're gonna be editing that component state and only that state, not the default, but the active. And you'll see what I mean here in a second. Let's grab our form field. Let's add our border. And I'll tell you what, we're going to use our color here, and we're going to, I love doing this, just right clicking on it and then saying, hey, apply this to the border color, right? Now we're not using just a swatch from over here, we're using our master colors. See how we're working smarter and not harder. Love that, okay? So now we have a little bit of an active state. That's nice because we can come in here and say, do we want it to be our default? Do we want it to be our active? We probably need another one. We need when the person is typing, okay? We need to see something like that. So let's do another one. We had our active component state selected here. And because we did that, the new state is gonna be based off of that active state, not the default state. So whatever you select, you press plus, it's gonna duplicate it from that state. Let's put typing. And there's a lot, when you really study like web design, there's your tab hover field, like tab, hover, active, inactive, all sorts of things. We'll just do an active typing state, okay? And all that's gonna mean is our typography is now filling in, or getting less opaque and becoming a little bit more bold. You can see it, okay? So now we have these three states. Love that to death, okay? Let's take our default state for our input. We can see that we have our input there now. And why don't we combine it, okay, with our input field, okay? Input field, I'm gonna name that. And now we're gonna make another component. We're actually making a nested component. And it says down here, our inner component has been converted from the main component to an instance so that we're not housing our main component inside of another one. That gets all funky. So it's okay, that's good, it's good stuff. But now we have a nested component, right? What's amazing about that is that's one component. So if we change our input field, for instance, look at this. I'm going to edit the main component. It's gonna pop it out there. If for some reason I want my main component to not have, for instance, like these rounded border radiuses to it, we'll just get rid of our little warning there, and we want it to be really straight. It's gonna fix it everywhere inside of just the component itself, and then also in every nested component. It's really, really great. So we'll delete that, get it off the screen. We love it. We're digging it. Okay. Now we definitely want this one to be one of our components as well. So why don't we take our input here, and I'm actually going to copy paste, and then I'm going to get my master component out of there so we're not messing with it, okay? But again, Command Y, we'll go back to our input field, copy paste. We got a couple of them there, right? So this one could be email, this one could be name. Let's do name at the top. We'll say full name here. And then we'll put an example like John Doe. That's stupid. Let's not do John Doe. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hint, hint for our last challenge. Full name, email address. This one's gonna be card details, okay? Card details, love it. And then this will say card number, like that. And then we just have to figure out how to get our icon inside of it, right? But what's cool is we're building a little bit of a system here, folks. Gotta love that. Okay. Can we? We cannot. So we might have to release this one from its home, but maybe not. Maybe we'll just push this over. Beautiful. Okay, so we're still keeping our input and our input field components intact. Love that. Okay, let's show one of them as being active by just clicking on the input itself and switching it over to the active field. Love that. Now we just have to change the helper text inside. Okay, so what do we say? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Beautiful. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Last thing we need to do is let's add some total, subtotal stuff, and then we can move on and build our little our slider thing that we want to build. Okay, so let's do something like subtotal. Okay, we'll bring the size of this in. It's left aligned, and then I'll bring this to the right so that we can actually put the price there. Something like, I don't know, how much is our thing? It's $4.99. Okay, love that. Okay, now again, I probably want to, just because I love stacks, I'm probably gonna stack these two things together by grouping them and stacking them like so. Okay, now it's all kind of locked up. Let's call this total line, and I'm just gonna do subtotal, and I'll space this 116 away. We'll call this one VAT. That's like the VAT, like the taxes or whatever. Let's say 20%. Okay, so that's, I don't know what that is, like 72 cents. I'm horrible at math. Something like that. You can tell that math is not my jam. Okay, and then lastly we'll do total. Total, if we could spell total. Total, and somebody do the math for me. Oh my gosh, $4.99 plus 72. I don't know, that's like 5. Gosh, I'm the worst at this. 71. Okay, for the total, and then we need to add a little bit of text inside of our button, and then we're done with this side. We can build a little slider thing. So I'm going to fill it with white, just make it pop a little bit, and we'll just say pay $5.71. All right, now again, we're building little systems here, like impromptu systems. So let's group these together. Call this button inside of our layers panel, turn it into a component. Why? Because we like components. We could do an animated button if we had time, but we probably don't have time. So with that being said, let's now create a little bit of our slider over here on this side. I'm thinking what we need to do is, I'm gonna duplicate my rectangle. I'm gonna make this another color so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna make a nice big slider here. Okay, now I have these images out on my desktop as well. So I'm going to just fill each one of these images so we have some stuff to work with. Okay, beautiful. I'm just gonna Command S to save, because that's what I do, because I freak out and I don't want to lose anything. I'm gonna press Command C and V and make one more, and again I'm gonna fill it with black just so you can see it. Okay, now what are we gonna do? I'm gonna put my images next to each other. I'm gonna call those my images in my layer panel. I'm gonna build a little slider type thing here. I'm gonna slide this thing right back in its way. So now you have, I'm gonna call this the frame, and you have your images, right? Okay, perfect, fantastic, love that. Right click and mask with shape, or Command Shift M, and we've popped it into place. What's always great about this in our little mask group over here is you can still, for some reason I think I lost my screen. Sorry folks. I got some technical difficulties right now, and I don't know why. We will figure it out though. Let's see if we can get it to work. Sorry about that. Let's see if we have, nope. My computer has decided to go bye-bye. So, let's, wow. I can't believe that happened. All right, give us 2 seconds here, and we will restart the old computer and figure a few things out. Or possibly, maybe possibly, I'm switching over stuff. I'd love to have some questions in the chat while I'm figuring out my issues that I have going on here. All right, you guys asked me some questions. We will try to answer those as quickly as we can while I'm troubleshooting my tech issues. Shoot me those questions. Let's make it happen. All right. Yeah, somebody said lost your screen, or is it just me? No, it definitely was not you. It is me and my technical difficulties. So really quickly, I'm just gonna do a few things here. I'm gonna add a scene in my live streaming stuff. You guys are gonna see a black screen for a second, so you'll have to excuse me. I'm so sorry, but I'm still here to answer your questions. I promise you. Okay. So yeah, somebody said, it's dark in here. It is a little dark in there, isn't it? Let's try to see if we can get something going here. Maybe, just maybe. Nope. Sorry, y'all. I can't do it. I can't get it. I have no idea what's happening with my stuff here. But it's got to be my laptop. My laptop is having, yeah, Skynet strikes again, somebody said. So true. So while we restart, let's see if I can just set something else up. But I tell you, let's talk about form fields, a little bit of web design while my laptop is restarting, and see if we can't salvage today's live stream. I'm so sorry, everybody. When you're kind of creating design patterns, libraries, pattern libraries, stuff like that, people ask me questions about this all the time, is when is the right time to start building these components, these libraries, these pattern libraries and systems? I say once you create something and you're reusing something 2, 3, 4 times, it's time to probably slow down and at least start building a mini pattern library to make your work smarter and not harder, so you're not working uphill as you go. Okay, so that's one thing I would say. Later on, you're probably going to need to start consolidating all of the work that you have, all your components, everything, and start building out a little bit more of a system. Okay, so that, just build it when you need it. You don't have to start building it outright right away. Build what you need when you need, I say. That's always my advice to people. All right. My computer is restarting. Let's see if we can actually do anything with it though, folks. All right. Can you give a fast idea of what's unique to add in a charity website? Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, websites really, at the end of the day, is about offering content, context, and value. So you need to ask yourself, what kind of value can I offer with this website, right? There always has to be primary actions and places that you're leading the user to. So you want to add something that's unique. Try being really clear and getting users to where they need to go as quickly as possible. That's actually more unique than it sounds like it is. Number 2, I can't think of anything number 2 right now. So that's a great question though. Is this the same as a style guide? Yeah, Jasmine Williams asked, that's a great question. A pattern library is kind of like the digital kind of expansion of a style guide. It's like a style guide in motion, in play. A design system is an even more structured version of that pattern library or style guide, except at that point you are now considering code snippets and design documentation and lots of other fun things. Do we have a screen? We don't have a screen for you. Oh my goodness, folks. It is not looking good for old Jesse's live stream today, I tell you. Let's keep working on it a little bit and see if we can get it cracking here. All right. I might have something. Hang in there with me. Oh my goodness. I just might have something. Here we go. Let's do it. We're back in. I'm designing on a PC now. Emergency. Okay. At least we're back in and we can kind of see my screen a little bit. So that is the good news of the moment, is that right there. Okay, so all right, let's get back to designing here and see if we can actually make this thing happen before we run out of time. I just want a really simple slider. Okay, I have my images, remember, I have them masked out there, and I have my frame. That's the thing that's kind of masking it out. I'm going to stylize it and just create some rounded corners here, maybe like 10 pixels of roundedness here, and we're just going to retitle this thing my slider, like such. And then why don't we add some little tiny buttons onto it? I'm going to hit E for ellipse, okay? And boom, I'm going to put that right there. Let's take the borders off of them and fill them with my background color, just like that. I like that. I have this little arrow up top. Let's bring it in and see if we can make this work, all right? One of them will go one way, and the other, you guessed it, will go the other way. Here we go. We're going super fast speed here. They're not pretty at all. That's okay. We're just trying to get stuff done. Get rid of our little tips on the screen. Good. I love it. Okay, great. We have right, and we have this other one called, we'll call it obviously left. You have the slider itself. Let's bring the whole thing together in the master slider like so. And then we'll create a component out of it. I'm pressing Control K on the PC. That's Command K on an Apple computer. And let's see. We want another state, right? So let's create another state, a new state. That's state number 2. And what is state number 2 going to look like? It's going to have the image sliding over like so. Okay. So we have state 1 and state 2. Let's wire this thing up on prototype. So we're just going to click R. Let's just zoom in so we can see what we're working on here. You're going to click your arrow, and you don't have to connect anywhere. You just click it and say on tap, I want you to auto animate to a state or layer. Let's go to state number 2. Beautiful. Let's do a little timing. Let's do a little snap, and we'll do 0.5 seconds. So slow it down just a little bit. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to select our actual component again, go over to state 2, and we're going to wire things back. Okay. So here, do the same thing, on tap, auto animate back to the default state with the snap and all the stuff. And then let's set it back to our regular state that we had here. Perfect. We're going to set home for our flow. And let's just press play and see what we can get out of this thing. You cannot see my preview. So interesting. So interesting. All the technical difficulties that I'm having. But let's see if we can make that happen. Okay. No, I don't think I can. That is a real shame here. So you can't see my preview, but I'll tell you right now, it's working. It's working just fine. All right. So, oh my goodness. All right. What else can we do to this thing? We probably, we want to add some on-off states. So when we click on something, things turn on and off, right? So we could do that really simply by setting this back to our default like so. And then let's do a quick prototype here. We'll say on tap, I want you to auto animate to not there. Nope. Choose a layer. I see. Hold on. Beautiful. Okay, we need to set another input, or excuse me, another component state for this guy. So this one only has one state. We need to make, right, another one that is the toggle state. We'll call this active like so. And all that does is take the active state there. Beautiful. Okay. So now we can come back and do our prototyping, which we should be able to say on tap, auto animate to active. Love that. Let's press play one more time. You can't see it, but I can, and it works. You can turn these things on and off by tapping on them, which is pretty great. And I'm so sorry for my technical difficulties today, folks. That is a real shame, but I promise you that we will get those sorted out for you next week. So I'm going to switch back over and see if I can, I don't think I'm going to have time to review any work today, but we'll do double review tomorrow because of my technical difficulties. Let's answer a few more questions that might be in there, okay? Yeah, my cable didn't pop out. It was something else, okay? A few ideas about web design portfolios and building my portfolio website. Absolutely, that's a great one. Let's answer that question for Waqar. About your portfolio. Here's my top 3 recommendations for your portfolio. It should be your most recent work. It should be your best work. You should limit it to 3 to 5 projects, and you should try to niche it down to the type of work that you want to do, want to get hired for, or love doing. That means if you want to do UI work, you might have some old packaging or branding stuff, but if all you really want to do is UI and UX work right now, that's probably what should be in your portfolio. And it shouldn't be things from 5-6 years ago. It should be things right now. A lot of people also ask, is spec work or concept work okay in my portfolio? Absolutely, it's okay. And I encourage it. I encourage you to build out case studies that represent more than just pretty visuals, but have some details about your process and the effects of your work and the value that it would bring to people wanting to hire you. So those are some recommendations for your portfolio. Some people are talking about the different easing types. They love snap. I love snap. I love ease in, ease out. I don't love the wind up. That's a little too much for me, but maybe that's just my preference. All right. Yeah, so we talked about a lot of things today. We talked about style guides, pattern libraries. We talked about technical difficulties that we will have ironed out for tomorrow. One more question from Lee says, top tip for a new UX student regarding information architecture: keep it simple, get them there quick, and focus on the main thing. Simplify, and strip away. Well, that's it for today, folks. I hope you had a fantastic time despite the technical difficulties. We will see you tomorrow when we get things all ironed out right here on the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge with me, your technically challenged host, Jesse Showalter. We'll see you then, folks. Have a fantastic Thursday.